Another big matchup, another slow start for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
The Cavs had their 7-game win streak snapped by an underhanded Oklahoma City Thunder, and really it's a snapshot of where this team is at the moment. Make sure you hit that like button, hit subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Noah, what did you think coming out of that game?
So, first things first, I told myself that no matter what, basically the rest of the regular season, I am not going to be too harsh. I am not going to critique. I am not going to overanalyze anything that's going on with this Cleveland Cavaliers team because of the fact that we added a new star piece. We're trying to gel everything together. You're going to have some bumps in the road, blase, blase, blah. That all still remains true. But I do have one gripe with this game. And it is literally what I said in our open. Every time I feel like we play one of these really big name teams, whether it be the Boston Celtics, whether it be OKC, whether it be, I mean, we played the Nuggets well, so I guess the Nuggets doesn't truly count, but these big name teams, the Knicks is another one that come to mind. Maybe thorn in our sides, teams that play tougher than us. We always, always, always start slow, and it is so frustrating.
It is frustrating. Obviously, you can't start off with 10 turnovers in about 7 minutes, I think it was. That said, the refereeing in this game left a lot to be desired. No, I mean, Kenny Atkinson was already all over the refereeing, and for good reason. I think we've heard this refrain from the entire NBA, and that is that OKC fouls on just about every single play.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing too. Richard Jefferson was on the call, which I love listening to Richard Jefferson, minus the egg beater nickname they tried to give Sam Merrill during this. That was god awful. We
But
we
that
could get
came
into
from
that.
Kenny. That came from the coach, not from.
Oh, okay. Well, regardless, all of it needs to go. Egg beater is not the right name for him. Back to the game, though. Yeah, the refereeing was really interesting, and Richard Jefferson was the one that pointed it out multiple times. Maybe he was showing a little hometown love to the team he won a championship with. I don't know, but the refereeing was horrible. The amount of times that I felt like there were plays in this game. There was a shot where Donovan Mitchell threw up a three, like trying to draw a foul, and it was clear as day. Any game you would call that a foul, and they didn't call the foul. And of course, he missed the shot because he just chucked it up to draw the foul. There were so many calls like that. Were there not? E.
Yeah, there definitely were. The problem that I have, I think, is that the Cavs seem unprepared for the physicality of the matchup. Um, we went in knowing that OKC is that team. Like we've heard this. This has been a refrain around the NBA for a while now. We know that they're a physical team. It seemed like we weren't prepared for that level of play. And the thing that bothers me a little bit is that this is an OKC team. I said that they're underhanded. That's to put it lightly. I mean, SGA was out, the stars were not playing. I give credit that that is a very well coached team and a very, very good system that we saw. We probably saw the best of the NBA right there. I don't care what Detroit's doing right now. OKC is the mark, and they are the champions for a reason, and they're chasing a two-peat. But we are a little ways off still.
Yeah, and I don't think I'm gonna make it very clear here. I'm not putting a ton of credit into this loss or over analyzing it and saying no. Well, we need to make another move already. And some of the discourse that we were having prior to the James Harden trade. Me and you specifically were talking about like I just don't know if this core is it anymore. Obviously, they went in a direction where that core is no longer it, and thankfully, that's what they did. Um, it's one loss. It's a loss with a team that is still trying to gel and trying to get together. So I'm not overanalyzing it. I'm not like panicked by this game. Are you?
No, but the you have a guy in Jared Allen that has looked like Shaquille O'Neal over the last couple weeks. Like you have James Harden specifically unlocks your bigs, and now you see the limitations of Jared Allen in a game like this. That's what worries me because I'm just not sure we still have the physicality and the presence in our bigs that's going to be needed for a deep playoff run. And obviously, we have the Knicks coming up, which will be another litmus test. But I think we failed this litmus test against a very good NBA team that was lacking star power. Again, yes, they have good structure, but if we cannot match physicality, then we're not going to go very far come playoff time.
No, that's completely fair. This team can grow in so many different ways, right? We've seen so many positives in the pick and roll with James Harden and, of course, Jared Allen, that just because one game against a really good team, they didn't look up to snuff. This early on, it doesn't bother me. This team could look and play and act completely different and on the level of the games that we saw where they were on the 5 game win streak with James Harden, 7 games overall before Harden came in. We could see that be more often the case than not. This is just the outlier, and that has to do with the fact that they haven't played a lot of basketball or practiced a lot of basketball together. It could also be a tale of the times because we've seen the Cleveland Cavaliers go out there and do this exact thing every single time. I swear to God, every time we have an ESPN matchup against one of these big teams, we go down 20 in the first quarter.
Yeah, but again, it's 20 against a team with 4 of their starting guards out. I mean, this should have been a game where we walked them, and in reality, it was anything but. And I get it, you can't stop. Like, they had fight, they showed fight. They were down big early, and started slow, but call it the noon or the 1 o'clock game or whatever causing those issues. I don't know what it is, but something needs to be fixed there. You're right, we start slow, we have to fight our way back, and then we see what happens. We didn't take advantage of the momentum that we had in the third quarter, in my opinion. So first of all, Sam Merrill's your hot hand. He looks great. I have the same complaint that I've had for years now. Our off-ball movement is trash. So you see Sam Merrill's knocking down shot after shot, and yet once again we're just standing around. So why are we not incorporating screens? And we should be playing like how prime Golden State played with Steph Curry. Sam Merrill, when he has that hot hand, he should be bouncing off screen set for him and feeding him the ball. And we're not doing that. And that's my most frustrating point of our offense is we get people so stagnant and standing around. I don't know. It's frustrating.
That's fair, and I've seen some of that, and some of it I give the excuse, even though this has kind of been an issue, and we've talked about it with the Cavs, regardless of Harden being here or not. But Harden does like the ISO ball side of things, where basically it's him 1 on 1 until that clock gets down to 2, and then he's either hitting it to the big or hitting it to one of the shooters in the corner or hitting the layup. Obviously, you guys get how pick and roll works, I would assume. Um, so to me, there's going to be a little bit more of that just because that's how
Yeah.
James Harden plays basketball. But it's you're 100% correct in they pulled Merrill out at one point too, and he was I mean, he had what, 20 points, 24 points, something like that? He was the hot hand this whole game, and we needed 3 points. We needed what Sam Merrill brings to the table when he's hot to stay in this game, and it just wasn't going that direction. You're 100% right in that. What were you thinking in terms of the big play? I know you already were kind of harsh on them being soft, but neither of them scored until like halfway through the second quarter. I don't think Jared or Allen scored until like the third quarter. It was a really depressing game, and for the big men. And I also got to say, Jared Allen, 2 free throws, you missed both of them when we need those points. Where's the guy that we've been watching for the last couple games? Come on, man.
He also airballed a free throw. But yeah, when the announcers, I didn't realize how bad it was until the announcer said, "Those are the first points from the Cavaliers front court." And I said, "Seriously? Like, are you kidding me?" Yeah, they played awful, and you can't have that. To be fair too, I've harped on this being an injured OKC team. Utah was fined recently for tanking in a game that they won. They pulled all of their starters, they still won. So this is a modern NBA where teams can win with injured players. Don't get me wrong, and the system that OKC has is fantastic. The same thing that we've complained about, our softness, was on display yesterday.
That's fair. And again, I'm hoping, and the thought process of bringing Harden in, you bring Schroeder in, who is a bruiser type. He will get in MFer's face. We saw a little bit of that in the game today. Actually, he got shoved. He got back up and put his chest in. I don't even know the Thunder player's name. I'm hoping some of that continues to change moving forward because we have seen a more aggressive Jared Allen at times this season, especially the last, I mean, 5 games, 6 games now. Not including the Thunder game, he has seemed to have hit another notch. Now he's taking a step back. There's a lot of confusion from this game because it did not look like the Cavs team that I think you and I have been excited to watch ever since James Harden got brought in to Cleveland. But again, it's kind of hard to be like harsh in my opinion right now, just because it's so early in this new experiment. It's so early in this new, dare I say it, core four.
It is early, yes, and they're gonna continue to work together, but I gotta say, if you have this OKC team, the Cavs very well may go to the finals this year. I think they're a very good team. I think they'll continue to grow. Um, if this is what we looked like against the champions who did not have their star talent out there, we might play OKC in the finals. I'm not sure we beat them in 7 games, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, OKC, and I know they've slowed down and they've had some injury issues, but they are a buzzsaw, man. And with the amount of draft capital they can continue to just reload their roster with and continue to move forward, I mean, they are a monopoly potentially. They could end up being a monopoly, the first real sports monopoly we've seen ever. I mean, it's very hard to, you know, repeat, three-peat. This team looks like they could be good for the next decade and have 8 or 9 championships. So I'm with you
It's
in
a
that too.
it's it's a lot of young talent, but I will caution you, there's a reason that dynasties are not thrown around too often, so let's pump the brakes, let's have them win more than 1 before we start throwing around words like dynasty. I do wanna I know we talked about it, but I wanna ask you, like, what do you think the reasoning is that SGA that OKC gets away with so many foul calls? Like, the fact that the broadcast crew is openly pointing it out, like how egregious it is. Why is that like being allowed across the board this year for them? For them
Yeah,
specifically.
I can't really tell you. This is the first time. I mean, the first time we played them, they blew us out like by 40 points or whatever. So there was no
Mhm.
care or concern in my mind of what was going on with the foul calls because we were never in it. This is my first time really noticing it in a game for the Cleveland Cavaliers, of course. I can't tell you because you would think, like, if you wanted to go down conspiracy theory avenue, giving them more opportunities to win games, I don't think is better for the league. I think parity is better for the league. So I don't know. I don't think that there's really a great answer there, but it was pretty egregious in this game. Do you have a reason? Is that why you're asking? Because you got your tinfoil hat on, cooking up
No,
conspiracies.
I don't have a reason at all. I was just curious if you had a thought there, but it was so bad. Like at times you're screaming at the TV, which is a frustrating experience. The Cavs play the Knicks tomorrow night. Another big matchup back to back. They've had a few, in fact. Obviously, they won against the Nuggets recently as well. What's your take on that matchup coming up tomorrow night?
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I think it is another litmus test, as you've seen. But these litmus tests to me don't mean as much as, say, if they were continuing on with like Darius Garland and Garland was playing because they've been together for so long, right? That's what I mean by that. I'm excited to see what they can do. I think we match up better against New York now that we have James Harden because he is a bigger guard. So I'm excited to see what they can do against the Knicks at home. I mean, it's going to be a very exciting home game for sure. I feel good about our chances because at our small sample size, right? We've seen 5 really good games with James Harden and one, you know. I would even just leave it at okay. I don't think it was a horrible game by any means. They just did not look like what they looked like the first 5 games with James Harden. So I'm cautiously optimistic, but at the same time, I'm not, holding them to anything I see right now in February. It's still all about getting chemistry together. What do you think?
I think that this is a great game and will kind of tell the tale of the East a little bit here. How we're gonna stop Jalen Brunson, I think, just looking at the last game is probably the tail of the tape. But I would expect the Cavs to bounce back and get a win here. I expect us to look way more competitive in this game, and if we don't, there's a lot of questions that are going to need to be answered pretty quickly, I think. But to your point, yes, this is a young core together. I think that Harden has slotted in very, very nicely. I think just what we saw against OKC was the lack of physicality. that New York's another team where we're gonna need to be physical, but in a different way. I also don't think they get away with the calls or lack thereof that we saw last night. So it should be a fun game. I'm looking forward to it. Cavs basketball's back though. Like I'm finally invested again in watching these games.
I know. I remember there was a point in time when we were talking about, just to peel the curtains back for our viewers, about, we like to talk all Cleveland sports here. We lean heavily Browns, of course, and talking about like what would we even talk about with Cavs at this point that we haven't already said. Now, I'm excited to sit down and do a Cavs show, even if it's a game recap like this and we're talking about expectations and what the team looks like, just because the Harden trade, and to a lesser extent bringing on Keon Ellis and Dennis Schroeder, has kind of reinvigorated interest to the team, I think, here in Cleveland, and of course for us as well as people who sit down and talk about Cleveland sports 5 days a week. Let me ask you this, E. What are your thoughts? You like everything with James Harden so far still, despite the loss? Did you see any concerns from that end? I thought he still played pretty well. He's making me fear the beard just a little bit more every day.
Yeah, so I have 2 thoughts on this. The first is that, we've gone nearly the month of February without a loss. This is the first loss, since acquiring James Harden, first loss since the end of January, so there's not much to be that upset with, honestly. The thing, though, that my second thought is, the thing that I felt was missing in this game, there were no points where either Mitchell or Harden, it felt like they could take over the game and we didn't see it. I felt like we played a little lackadaisical, and I wasn't watching like intently, but enough that we just didn't see that from either star player, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about both of them had 20 points apiece. They scored the same amount as Sam Merrill. They all had 20. They were our leading scorers. Evan Mobley heated up just a little bit. And I just remembered something because I was looking at the box score. If we are giving Evan Mobley a 3-point shot when we need it most, I understand they're not guarding him, but there's a reason they're not guarding him. He has been horrible from behind the arc this year. Anybody but Mobley right now at the three when I'm talking, we needed a three. There was like 48 seconds left on the clock. What the hell is that? But I get it. You got to also try to instill
Wide
confidence in the
open
guy.
too.
He was wide open, dude. That was so frustrating. But no, I'm with you in that too. I felt like they both could have had their moments. There were so many times I felt like we were getting in this pick and roll set with Harden that he likes to run so much, and we just weren't seeing him, take over and finish at the basket every time. I felt like there was a lot of passing going on. Not that you can't pass in basketball, of course, but just not being dominant, like you're saying, basically.
Yeah, and listen, I think that this will come. Like it's still the regular season. Like we're moving in the right direction in my opinion. I think that we'll see a different playoff team than we're used to seeing, but the physicality still worries me. That's the end of the day. Like I just don't know how we get beyond that right now.
So you would put yourself at still like cautiously optimistic with the Cavs and what they have going on. I'm not talking about winning a championship, but just in general, making an actual playoff run, not getting bounced early, successful. I don't know where you want to put success aside from a finals, but are you feeling cautiously optimistic for that?
Yeah, I think tomorrow night tells us a lot. But
Yeah.
yes, I think we're a very deep team. I think that anything short of an Eastern Conference Finals appearance is a failure. Uh, and yeah, I think there's a real chance that we do go deep and maybe even go to a finals. But we'll see. We've seen this team win a lot of games last season during the regular season and then look god awful come playoff time. So a lot we'll learn a lot during the playoffs, but unfortunately like there's no indicator until we get there. Is what I've learned.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing, right? The narrative and the theme going into the season was the regular season doesn't matter. And now, even with trading for new players and chemistry and stuff, we're not ever really still going to be satisfied until we see what happens in a playoff setting with this team because of I mean, last season we got burned. We had 60 plus wins and then went to the playoffs, got hurt, and fizzled out in the second round to the team that ended up going to the finals for sure. But
Mhm.
we could have beat Indiana, and they should have beat Indiana if they just had a different mindset and were healthier too, of course.
Yeah, absolutely, and sometimes it's just about, who's playing hot at the right time,
True.
and you're gonna run into that, but we need to be the team that overcomes that, and that's what we saw from a championship level team in OKC. They are a team that uses structure, to win games even though they have, again, 4 guards out, of their best guards, they still find a way to win. That's the kinda grit that we need.
For sure, for sure. I am still excited as can be watching the Cavs, being invested in the Cavs. Maybe it's because football's gone, and maybe it's because baseball's not here yet. So it's naturally, as a sports guy, the only thing I can revolve around. But James Harden still, I think, has brought a new level of energy, excitement, focus for not only the fans, but the team and the organization as well. And I'm excited to continue to see how this plays out. The loss to OKC hurts 100%. I would have loved to come back and win that game, but I don't think it's the be all end all. I think this team can still continue to go up from here and continue to look really good and get us maybe a little excited for the playoffs and into a deep playoff run.
One final note before we get out of here, question, and I think we've touched on it, but it's now pretty clear, especially with Laker ownership commenting on it, that LeBron is not returning to LA. Lot of rumors swirling that he would sign with Cleveland. Obviously, that depends on vet minimums, things like that. But the question doesn't surround contracts or money. Forget all of that for a second. Does LeBron next year make this team, this current team, better? Does he put them over the top?
Does he make them better? 100%. He's still, a top 10 player. He plays really good basketball. Maybe he's not top 10. Maybe he's a little bit lower, but he's still a top player in the league. We'll leave it at that. Yes, he's old. Of course, he's old for the NBA. But him coming back, doing one more year with us, having him come in, and he doesn't have to be the guy. And I think he would honestly accept that at this point, especially if we're talking about him coming in for a mid level or vet minimum or whatever that looks like with the apron rules, of course. Um, I think it makes us better. I think it's the best thing he can do to round out his career. And if we all get a ring out of it, no one's going to bat an eye or complain that LeBron James was here because at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, Cleveland loves LeBron James. And if he comes back, we are welcoming him with open arms. What do you think?
Absolutely, like, nor should we be upset about that, frankly. I think
Yeah.
that LeBron, just as a facilitator, is a phenomenal player. He has wanted for a while now, which is funny, but he has wanted for a while now to not be the guy, to be able to come in, play a big role, but play a role in a championship team. And I think he adds that to Cleveland. Whether or not we make that work, that's a different question. I think we would try to, because I think we'd be foolish not to, especially if he wants to be back here. The reality is a little different. I think with his businesses in LA, et cetera, I don't know that he'll be a Laker. I just don't know that he'll return to East Coast Cleveland. But we shall see. But yeah, I definitely think he makes this Cavaliers team better.
Yeah, there will be. I know we joked about it last summer, LeBron or watch for Cleveland, but I definitely think there will be LeBron watch for Cleveland on the At the Office YouTube page moving forward once this season ends, once the finals are over, and once LeBron. I don't think he's retiring. I think he's going to play one more year. He has too much, and I don't mean this in a bad way because when I say ego, it comes off as bad. And I love me some LeBron, but he has too much of an ego to not want to do like a retirement tour, especially in the city that loves him the most, in my opinion.
I hope it's true. On that note, the debate never ends, but the show does for now. We'll see you next time.